Some people are into one type of car, but they don't just buy one of those cars, they try and buy all the versions of that particular car. And in this case, we have a guy called Andy who's made his entire shrine at the end of his garden for that type of car, the Lotus Cortina. Welcome to Car Caves. This is the Late Break Show. Okay, we're going to start with this car here on the Car Cave. It's a Lotus Cortina Crayford convertible.
Indeed, yes.
So Crayford were a coach building company, and I know they did numerous convertibles of other marques.
Yes, they did.
Is this really thought to be the only Lotus Cortina?
There's been rumours for years that there's been one, and uncovered it, and this should be, hopefully, the only one.
Actually, Andy, stop talking, because I've decided to do a standalone barn find episode on this incredible time capsule Lotus Cortina Mark I Crayford convertible. It is the only one in existence, we think, and therefore I wanted to do a proper episode all about that car. Before we talk about all the others, because you might have seen from the number plates, Andy's got 1 year, one of every year of Lotus Cortina. As you go around this room here, Mark II's over here, Mark I's over there. I want to talk about the room, Andy, because it's tucked away right at the end of your garden, and it's its own self-contained shrine for Lotus Cortinas. The banners are on there. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Memorabilia. You've got the illuminating Ford dealership badges over there. How long has it taken to get to this point? What were you doing before this?
Well, it's taken, to be fair, it's a dream, and it's now come to fruition. I bought the car over there in '87, and it's always been my ambition to do something like this. And you know, I've been fortunate. Cars have come along at the right time, and I would say, yeah, pretty much all my life, to be fair.
So this building
has been up just over a year, and all the vehicles were in, unfortunately, council lockups.
Were they?
Until we'd got it pretty much finished to be able to start moving some in.
Yeah.
And that's what we've done one by one. Finish the lockup, close the lockup, snap the padlock, and move the car in.
Wow.
And that was it. Yeah. So one by one, it was eventually done.
So what is it about Fords? There's some non-Cortinas in here, I know.
Yes, but still all Fords.
They're still all Fords.
Fords would do a car for everybody, whether you wanted to race one or whether you just wanted to go to Epsom Downs and have a picnic. You know, they seem to do a car to suit everybody's needs.
Yeah.
To take the family in, etc., etc. And I don't know, it's just something that's struck a chord, and I've stuck with it.
And of course, the Lotus must have been the dream vehicle.
Oh yeah, I mean, growing up, you always aspired to have the top of the range and the fast one, and here I am.
Yeah,
you know, living the dream, as they all say.
So this is the 63,
which
you've obviously never driven.
No,
but let's go over there. 1964.
Yeah,
64.
It was made and built in '63, but it was exported directly to Sweden. And of course, on ferries, blah, 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 things are set on ports. And it actually wasn't registered in Sweden until '64.
Oh, okay.
Therefore, it's not recognised until '64, although it was built in '63.
Interesting.
Probably about 200 or 300 after that one.
So did you buy it from Sweden, or did you?
It was exported then to Norway.
Okay.
And I bought it in Norway. It's still got a kilometres speedo on it.
Has it? Oh yeah. This looks in good condition.
Yeah.
Restored car?
Yes, it had been restored a long time prior to the guy that bought it in Norway. So it was restored in Sweden.
Yeah.
He bought it, had it a few years, and then it came up for sale, and here it is. What's
the difference between, how can you identify a 64 or a 63 car? Is there anything, or is there?
There's different things on the body Small, silly things that bits are put in slightly different places.
Okay.
Coil and things like that is moved. Just crazy little things. And of course, if they move something, you've got holes in the body
Yes.
where they've drilled it. And obviously, if it's no holes, then you know it's a slightly different model.
Okay, okay.
Just silly things like that.
What made you buy it in Norway? Did you just hear about it and think that seems good?
A guy contacted me and just said, I've just need to get rid of it. I just want to get rid of it, blah, blah, blah. Would you come and have a look? Not really, but
Well,
yes.
I was going to say, what, pop over?
Yeah, just pop over. And I did. And it was pretty much in this condition. So, well, you know, I've got to have it.
Oh, gosh.
It's the ultimate in Lotus Cortinas. The early car is in some people's eyes, is the one to have.
Why? Because it's the purest version?
It's the purest, yeah. It's the more Lotus than Ford.
Okay.
If you like. It's got more Lotus parts, specific parts on it than a later car. The later car you get becomes more Ford.
Yeah.
So
isn't it weird that I think that Lotus engined Fords are worth more than a lot of Lotuses?
Yeah. Crazy.
Weirdly, isn't it?
Crazy.
But that was the idea. You take a kind of basic everyday car and you put Lotus's R&D into it.
Yeah.
It's cool. I really like this.
Race it on Sunday, sell on Monday.
Yeah. What's the deal? I saw this on the yellow car, the Consul, because the Consul was a different Ford altogether.
Consul was Ford's branding. They kept Consul on lots of their cars. The Consul Corsair they had, the Zephyr Zodiac had the Consul. And it was just a brand that Ford's thought it was...
Like a trim level, or is it?
No. It's literally the early cars are Consul Cortinas and the later cars are Cortinas.
Cortinas.
Yeah, if you like.
Okay.
If you like. And it was just something that Ford's marketed and just thought the Consul name appealed to everybody.
Okay.
So.
Let's look at
65.
5. First of all, I want to say I'm jealous of any man that has his own ramp, but you have 2. Because I know how bloody useful they are.
Yeah, they are extraordinary.
And also really good when the collecting thing gets out of hand and you need another parking space.
Yeah.
Okay, this one, 1965.
Yes. It's the airflow Cortina, the famous airflow ventilation, which is eyeball vents basically, just lets cold air or air from the outside and through the car, whereas you had to open quarter-light windows in the older cars. So TR4s, I think, had the first ones, but Ford's adopted it, changed the grille, and then you had this airflow ventilation so that you could get cold air on your face, etc.
So how would I know that is a 65?
If you look at the front of the 64 and compare it to the 65, the grille is totally different. The 65 and 66 incorporates side lights and indicators.
Ah, yeah, the indicators, right.
Whereas this was separate.
Yeah. And no Consul name anymore?
No, this one's Cortina. That says Cortina. So they dropped it. They dropped it for the airflow model.
I can see it's on mini lights, real ones.
Yeah, proper mini lights, yes.
Yeah. What's the story with this particular car?
This is what they call the interim model. It's it has, I'd say, all the goodies. It still has the Chapman suspension on the back, the A-frame, and some aluminium parts as standard. But with the, I don't know, more pleasing maybe aesthetics of the look of the grille seems to be better. But it's an interim.
So is this one of your favourite models?
To me, that's to me. It's got more sentimental than that one. Okay. My first ever car was a 65 GT because I couldn't afford a 65.
Oh, okay.
65 Lotus.
Restored car?
I've done that myself.
Oh, have you?
Yeah. It was, but it was very, very good. Very, very good.
Okay.
In fact, it's still got its original seals on it.
Has
and
it?
Things like that. Yeah, the seals are all original.
So how long you had this for?
88. I bought it in 88.
Oh my gosh, you've had it a long time.
Yeah.
Let's have a look down here. And the other thing is I can have a good look now at the Lotusy bits.
On the back.
On the back there, you see that A-frame, which is cool. We've got a convertible that's not
A Lotus, no.
It's not a Lotus or a Cortina.
Yeah, this is a recent acquisition. I just always had this in my mind for years that I always wanted to put a V6 in a Cortina.
Okay.
Going to Battersea Park when I was 17, 18,
yeah,
and seeing all the crews,
all the custom cars,
car shows, and all the crews, and it was the thing to do. And I've always hankered to do it, and never got around to it. And this came up, and I thought, this is an ideal opportunity to do what I've always wanted. So it's got the V4 in it, which is adequate, but it's just, when you've driven 3 litre Capris and things like that in the day, you know the advantage of a 3 litre.
So is this is a real Crayford conversion?
Yeah, it's a proper Crayford conversion, yeah.
And how I don't even know how many Consul Crayfords they did.
There's more
Corsairs
than anything that Crayford's ever did. And to be honest with you, the Corsair was a bit of an ugly duckling, if you like. But when you put the roof down, it's the best looking one.
Is it?
Yeah, definitely.
So you're going to put a 3 litre Capri motor or Granada?
Granada.
You've got one?
I've got a Zodiac engine sitting in my proper 3 litre Zodiac.
He's got a stash of bits. He doesn't like to talk about it, but I've had a quick look. Go on then, Andy. What, 66?
66, the last of the Mark 1s.
Right.
Finished in 66 because Lotus moved to Hethel, where they are now, from Cheshunt. So this was the least Lotus, more GT, if you like. So more standard production coming out of Fords, and had GT stuff, GT interior. Lotus Dash, different, obviously, it's different, but it's lost the suspension, the Chapman suspension, because of the warranty claims from going back to Lotus and Fords. So they stuck to the traditional cart springs.
Oh, so this has leaves in it?
Yeah, this has got leaf springs.
Okay.
So, and that's what happened, and that's then what happened throughout the rest of the
So does that make it a less desirable car now, or not really?
It's probably the least value
of the Mark 1s.
Of the Mark 1s, yeah. The least desirable, possibly, yes. But then, like anything else, you'll get people that go, I love a 66. Yeah. Because that's what I want. Yeah. You know, and don't like a 63. But I have so much fun in that one.
Really?
Yeah.
If you had it a long time?
It's actually the wife's car.
Okay.
And, yeah, probably 15 years.
Okay. The engine, the performance of the engine, run me through the sort of stats of the original Lotus twin cam.
The original Lotus standard 105 brake horse.
Okay.
100 mile an hour car. Yeah. Just a little bit more. In its day, nothing around to touch it. Right. Not a production car. Yeah. E-types, yes. Aston Martin, yes.
But they're all big cylinders.
But they're all big cylinders, etc., etc. This is why they raced against the Mustangs, the Galaxies, the big 7 litre jobs. Yeah. And were competitive, kept up with them, and overtook them on the corners.
So it was the combination of that and the aluminium bits
and everything, and the handling was fabulous because the suspension was changed from standard. Yeah. So lowered, etc., different camber rates. Yeah. Just a lovely package.
They are weirdly simple.
Yeah.
You know, most of them, or nearly all of them, you were saying were white with the green stripe, and there's no like fancy big badges really.
No, more subtle than anything else.
It is surprisingly subtle for Ford.
Yeah, it is.
So you've had this one a while. This is your wife's car, not yours. We're moving across to the Mark II area.
Okie dokie.
Now, I'm just noticing the axles next to you. Do you like tinkering with the cars yourself?
Absolutely. That's what the fun is. That's what I want to do. What I've always wanted to do. You always want to come home from work and you want to tinker down the garage for an hour, a couple of hours, and etc. But
so it's your sanctuary here.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because you don't work in the car industry, do you? No. So this is your hobby.
Yeah, this is a total hobby. There's no buying and selling here. This is it. This is what I want. Yeah. And this is what I've got. Yeah. So, well happy.
What do you drive day to day? Because I mean, obviously these are pretty valuable cars now. They're not the kind of car you'd use every day. Well, maybe you'd use the Orion every day. But what do you drive every day?
To be fair, I'm transport manager is what my job is. So I've actually got a works van.
Have you?
that is my daily drive.
Yeah.
So it's so different and such much pleasure to get into.
So all the glamour is down here.
Yeah, the glamour's here. That's just everyday work, and that's it. So.
This is a Mark II, in case you didn't know, which you will know because you follow this show, and I'm sure you'd know. But so this is the big change for Ford.
This is a Ford car. The only part of Lotus that was in this was a bit of development with the suspension, and obviously the engine.
Yeah.
But this is totally produced at Ford's.
Okay,
at
so on a
Dagenham,
Ford production line.
Ford production line.
Okay.
Because of the warranties, because of Lotus were moving, as I said earlier, to Hethel. They didn't have the facilities, so Ford's took it in-house and done it in-house. This actual particular model, or this actual car, was a press car.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So it's one of the original promo vehicles.
So it was a press car. Hence a very early '67 car. So they made these in March. They started in March. This is a March built car.
Is it? So this has appeared in magazines.
Yeah, it's pictures of it at Longleat. They
Longleat?
launched them at Longleat with the Lions.
Did they really?
Yeah, and there's pictures of this car with surrounded by lions.
That's cool. I mean, press cars are funny in that they get used hard because they get tested, but they get maintained meticulously. Yeah. Because they have to be, they represent the company.
The reputation. They don't want to let them, don't want to let anybody down.
So has this been restored?
No, not really. Not in my ownership. It's pretty good to start with. To be fair.
Yeah.
So.
This is the sort of car that Ford would want to own. Yeah. Isn't it?
Well, their museum.
Not that you're selling it, because you don't sell stuff.
No,
you told me that off camera. It doesn't sell anything. But it looks really good. I've never driven a Mark II Lotus Cortina.
Right, okay.
No, I've never driven one.
Okay.
No.
A bit more refined than the Mark. Yeah, the later you go, I wouldn't say softer ride, but just a better ride. People hate me for saying it, but the Mark II is a better driving car.
Okay. It's one of those things, it probably doesn't get the glory that the Mark I's
Absolutely,
do.
yeah.
The Mark I's just that much more identifiable.
Yeah, indeed.
But interesting. Let's move over to the ramp. 68.
Yeah, 68.
This looks like it's seen some action, shall we say?
Yeah, I don't know a lot of history about this one. It's a recent acquisition. Just bought it because I needed a 68.
And it was locked down and you were bored.
And it was locked down and I was bored. And the garage wasn't finished. Okay. So I needed something. So yeah, so I bought it. It's had a life. It's been rallied.
It really has.
There's a lot of evidence of it being rallied.
You can see it's got some rot, but as like rally cars do, they get utterly battered.
Oh, battered, yes.
Really, really battered.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a sump guard.
That's a lovely, isn't it?
It looks like a blimmin' girder or a gate.
It must sort of sit down at the front, I think, when it's back on its wheels.
Yeah. So you bought it as a long retired competition car?
Yeah. It sat outside a long time, and it wasn't even under a tarpaulin. Well, it was under a slight tarpaulin, and it was ripped and this, that, and the other. And
poor thing.
I just thought, yeah.
Go on then.
I'll have it for the sake of having it.
So is it a UK car? Is it?
It's definitely a UK car. It's a 68 car. It's what they call a black badge car, which came out just after Jim Clark died.
A black badge?
Yeah, the badges on the back are not yellow and green. They are black.
Oh, okay.
So
like a memorial thing?
It's a memorial thing, yeah. Jim Clark died in April 68, and this is a June 68. And Colin Chapman asked that all Lotus cars have black badges in memorial.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Of Jim Clark.
I didn't know that. Cool. I've just noticed your clock. That's a very cool clock. Did you make that?
No, a friend of mine made it, and I'm very grateful to him. He said, I've got to do something for you to go in the workshop.
That looks ace. Before we get carried away with clocks, underneath the rally car, you got And I'm right in thinking Crayford convertible.
Another Crayford convertible,
but
yeah.
a factory Lotus Cortina.
Yep. Spoke to the storeman at Crayford's.
Okay.
Tried to get some history.
Yeah.
Because it needed a rear window.
Yeah.
The windows hide into the back there, and they come up.
Oh, okay, okay.
And it was cracked. And spoke to the storeman, and I said about it. Got the car, and he, oh yeah. He said we made 200 of those, but only 20 Lotuses. He said we had 20 kits for Lotuses that obviously we had to do. And I said, what's the difference? He said, I don't know. I'm just a storeman.
Really?
Yeah.
Because am I right in thinking the records from Crayford are a bit patchy?
Yeah, records from all these cottage industries, they're just not out there really, to be fair. Although Ford's massive company, multi-billion dollar, when they were given to Crayford's or Lotus, they just wanted to sell a car. So
Crayford would get a complete car?
Yeah.
It wasn't a rolling empty shell?
No, it was a complete car, and I took the hacksaw to it.
Oh gosh, okay. In terms of like performance of the Mark II versus the Mark I,
yeah.
Is there any significant drivetrain difference?
Really technically, that has a straight prop. The Mark IIs and the later Mark Is had a split prop.
Okay.
And the differential was changed.
Okay.
Same casing, but the internals were slightly different.
So the aluminium casing?
All gone.
Okay.
But available as
Okay.
extra.
Oh,
Same
so
as
like an option?
Yeah, same as aluminium bonnets and things like that. If you wanted them doors, was all available as an option.
So standard on Mark Is?
Yeah, standard
optional.
on early Mark Is, but as it went along the line, they gradually got dropped. Too expensive.
Of course.
Too expensive.
Of course.
So
it was more about the look in some ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the provenance, I've got a Lotus
provenance, I've
Cortina.
got a Lotus Cortina.
Yeah,
That's it.
don't mess with him, he's got a Lotus Cortina, basically. What's the crack with this car? How hard was it to find? Were you out looking for one? Did you stumble across it?
I'd got my early car, the first car that I ever bought, which we'll come to in a second. And I was at a car show at Alexandra Palace, and I was queuing up to chat to the guy that had the Lotus Cortina to say, I've got one.
Me too.
And the guy that was on the stand was just chatting to other people, and the guy wanted to speak to him, and he wanted to tell him he knew where there was a Crayford Lotus Cortina, and at the time I never even knew they existed.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of listening to the conversation.
Yeah.
And the chap behind the boss name says, just give me your details.
Yeah.
And I'll advertise it in the magazine for you.
Yeah.
Great, fine. And I just said, if he doesn't get back to you, here's my details.
Brilliant.
Please chat to me, phone me.
Yeah.
And 2 days later, he phoned me up and said, yeah, do you want to come around and have a look at it? And I actually went to look at it, and you could not tell it was a Cortina at all. It was it was green because of the moss and all the rubbish that had grown all around it.
Oh, so it had been left outside?
It had been left outside, and it was literally, I went like that and thought, and all the moss come off of my fingers.
Oh my God, was it rotten to hell?
It was quite rotten.
Yeah.
In fact, when I got it restored, it sat outside again at the restorers for 6 months because they never worked on it.
Oh gosh.
And and I just kept thinking, this
is a bad idea.
This is bad.
Yeah.
And I then got the Mark I at the same time. And I literally went round to see them to say, forget about that because it's just too far gone.
Yeah.
I want you to have a go at this.
Yeah.
And I said, glad you've come round. We've had the car in the workshop a month, and we've done this to it, and we've done that to it, and we've done whatever.
Oh, so you'd already committed?
I was committed. I then had to carry on. So that's the story of this one.
So how long have you had that?
If that was 86, 87, this was 88, and then that was 88/89.
Oh my gosh, you were busy in 87 and 88.
I was, yes.
Weren't you?
Yes.
You were Lotus busy. Now, this was your first Lotus
Yes,
Cortina,
indeed,
right?
Yep.
Before we chat about it, one thing I was going to ask is, what was your first car?
First car was a Mark 1 Cortina GT.
Okay.
When I was 17.
That's quite a trick car, isn't it?
Loved it. It was a great car, just not as fast as a Lotus, which you aspire to.
Yeah.
Couldn't afford it. They were 30 quid more.
Yeah.
I'm 17 quid a week I'm on. You know, that was like another 2 months sort of extra spending money.
Yeah.
Extra wages. So I just couldn't afford one. So Mark 1 65 GT.
So what, have you had a lot of cars in your time?
No, to be fair, it's quite limited. I've probably got more cars in here now than I've had actually as a lifespan of cars.
Really?
Yeah, I just sort of tend to buy something and love it. Why?
Yeah.
I want to buy something because I want it.
Yeah.
As opposed to that'll get by, that'll do me a job.
Yeah.
But I'm going to buy that car, save up for it, and I'm going to use it and cherish it and love it as much as I can.
So this 1987.
86, that's stroke 87, yeah.
And this is
a 1970.
So this is the last year.
Yes, it is.
Of
yeah.
Lotus Cortina.
And the best driving ones.
Okay.
Because it's just a better ride.
What did they do differently?
Well, obviously changed it from the Mark 1, a more harder ride that they were, and then just got probably slightly softer.
Yeah.
And then, but just a nicer drive, just slightly changed on suspension stuff, but nothing major, different gearbox, and just made it more pleasant to drive.
So you could order this in lots of different colours?
Yeah, this is again, probably one-off colour. The story goes that I got from Ford's at the time, it's Special Lilac, which is very similar to Light Orchid.
Yeah.
In the 1600Es.
Yeah.
And the story is that Ford's done 4 different colours to evaluate and to see what the likeness, what people wanted.
Yeah.
And this is called Special Lilac. They done a green and a yellow. And I know the green became Modena green and the yellow came Daytona yellow.
Daytona yellow.
And they also done a black as a special order.
Okay.
So obviously the green and the yellow took off in the Mark 3 Cortina, and the Escorts. This not so, and the black didn't take off so much.
And has it always been this colour?
Yeah. Well, when I bought it, it was white with a green flash.
Of course.
And a black vinyl roof.
Okay.
And I was in love with a Lotus Cortina. I'd got one.
Yeah.
And I started rubbing it down in the boot. And I saw this colour underneath and thought, oh no, what have I done?
What, you've bought a clone?
Yeah, I've bought something that's not as it should be. And then started cleaning it off a bit more and I just got thinking, this is lovely. It was beautiful in the boot.
Yeah.
And checked out the chassis plate, got in touch with Ford's, who at the time had a sort of an archive department. And the guy said, oh yeah, Special Lilac. And he told me the story of we done 4.
Okay.
And they were special order, and yeah.
So it's quite a rare car in that respect.
Yeah, I can't say it's the only one because I haven't seen them all.
Okay, Andy, not a Lotus Cortina.
No, sadly.
Very modern.
Yes.
By your standards.
For my standards, yes, yeah. Absolutely.
It's one of those cars, the Orion, where they were everywhere. And a bit like Sierras, now you don't really see them anymore. And this car, to me, looks pretty high spec.
Yeah.
Leather.
Yeah. This was Ford's collaboration with Tickford, believe it or believe it not.
Was it?
Yeah, this is the 1600E, which was top of the range, lots of money in its day. And Tickford, I don't think they've done anything to the engine, but they changed the interior, put wooden door caps.
I've noticed there's quite a chunky piece of wood up there.
Back to the old sort of 1600E, Mark II 1600E, where they tried to recreate it and knew it was a seller.
Right.
Because, your executive model sold.
Yeah. So this was higher than a gear?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So,
this is top of the range.
They did a Sierra 1600 or 2000E.
2000E, yes.
2000E.
And done the same things.
Right.
Yeah.
So how did this come to be in your possession?
I literally drove past the forecourt at my local Ford garage and said, that looks lovely.
So hang on, how long have you had it then?
Well,
since
it's
1989
it's
or
89, so I probably had it in 90 or 91.
Oh my gosh, you've had it a long time.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
And how many miles? What's the score?
Not many.
25,680.
Yeah.
Wow.
All serenely driven.
Absolutely.
By me. I don't know about the lady that had it before.
Gosh, so you just kind of fancied it and
Yeah,
thought...
I just thought it looks lovely. It sat there and it was gleaming, and yeah, I thought, well, I'll go for that.
The joy for me with car caves is people letting you into their private little kingdom. And in the case of Andy, he's not just got all the cars that he's always wanted, but he's finally managed to build the building that he wants to put them all in. So they're all in one place, and when he's finished work, he can escape. It's got everything, kitchen, toilet, you name it. And it's also, for me, it's been a bit of an educational process, because I haven't seen all the little differences of the world of Lotus Cortina. I didn't know what the differences were. So I've thoroughly enjoyed it myself. I hope you too have enjoyed this episode of the Late Break Show Car Cave. If you haven't already subscribed, please, why not subscribe and comment below. And if you're a patron and you support this channel through Patreon, thank you ever so much. I will put a link for Patreon in the description below. Cheers.